Let us now focus on project budgeting and look at the learning objectives for the same. We will look at creating a new original budget for a project. We will allocate the project budget across periods, modify any uncommitted allocations, view the budget allocations, and some of the import options. We will then go ahead and see how to create a revision to a project budget and how to configure project budgets. We will look at the budget options in the project details and also how to set up the project budget workflow. We will look at budget balances form and how to carry forward any remaining budget to the future years. Let us take a look at a simple example to create an original project budget. Let's navigate to a project. In the project details form, you will be able to navigate to the Plan tab and then on to the project budget form. For you to be able to use project budgets, in the Budget and Forecast tab, you need to have the Use Budget Control checkbox turned on. So let's go ahead and create a project budget for this particular project. In the project budget form, you can see that the budget has an ID associated with it, and it also has a workflow status. Every project budget needs to go through workflow to be able to be approved and for the costs to be consumed off of the budget. You also see the forecast models that are associated with the project budget. You will be able to choose a forecast model for the original budget and a forecast model for the remaining budget as well. These settings are done in the forecast model setup, which we will look at later on in this session. It will be possible to go ahead and create budget lines here. I will be creating some of the cost budget lines for specific categories for this project. I would like to allocate $1,000 for application development and $2,000 for consulting. I can go ahead and add the revenue budget lines as well, or I can generate the revenue budget lines from the cost lines. So I have created the revenue budget lines from the cost lines. As you can see, the revenue amount is copied from the sales value of the selected project category. If a sales value was not specified for the project category, as in our case, the revenue amount is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a revenue budget as well in our case. Now we will go ahead and allocate this budget across periods. In the action pane, you can see the Allocate Budget button. This launches the Allocate Budget form for us. I would like to allocate the budget for all transaction types involved in my project budget lines. And then I hit on Allocate. Here it shows me the allocation that I made based off of the settings in the previous screen. We will go back and look at the screen once again. If I had not chosen all types and only cost, you would see the amounts only for these types. I could also choose a time period by which I want to allocate my budgets. If I select quarter and allocate the budget across the quarters, you will see that this split up will happen across quarters. I can also choose a time period by which I want to allocate my budgets. I choose by quarter and I choose all the transaction types that I want to allocate and hit on Allocate. Now you can see that the amounts are split between 4 quarters. This looks okay to me. I have created my initial original project budget. I'm going to submit this to the workflow. Budgeting is managed as a single unit for the entire project hierarchy. Once an original budget is approved, any sub-projects created afterwards must be budgeted through the budget revision process. Once the work breakdown structure for a project has been defined, you can select an activity for a budget line in the project budget form.